Hello and welcome to Carrie's Kitchen, where we cook and talk about alternative ways to make the foods you love. I'm Krista. Welcome. Today we're going to make cassava flour blueberry waffles. Today, to make our blueberry cassava flour waffles, we will need a cup and 2 tablespoons of cassava flour. We will use 3 teaspoons of our baking powder. I use aluminum free. We will also use a 1/4 cup of coconut oil and a 1/4 cup of non-dairy butter for me. Then we will also use in here 1 tablespoon of turbinado sugar. You will use a 1/2 cup of non-dairy milk. You will use a 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 2 room temperature eggs, a pinch of salt, and of course, the most important, blueberries. We've already mixed up the dry ingredients, which are the cassava flour, you've got your sugar, a pinch of salt, and then you also have your baking powder. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the 2 room temperature eggs. The purpose of this, the yolks will go directly in with the dry ingredients, but the whites we will put in the mixing bowl and they will be whipped to stiff peaks. And what that does is, because cassava is a flour, fairly dense flour, that adds some levity to it and it makes them perfect. They come out just incredibly well. So dry ingredients, let's go ahead and get the eggs working. My handy dandy little egg separator. Trust me, separating eggs by hand is a pain in the patooties. There we go. And then we have the other one. Alright. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the mixer on high and whip the egg whites into stiff peaks. Lock that down. Gets a little noisy in here. These are the stiff peaks I mentioned. It was about 2 minutes to get them to this point. Again, it may be a little longer or a little shorter depending on how your mixer is or if you have a hand mixer or not. But this is what you want them to look like. Okay, now I'm going to add the vanilla, the oil, the butter, and the milk. We'll get that all together and then we will fold in the egg whites, and the very last thing we will do is we will put in the blueberries. So now the butter and the oil. So, 1/4 cup of butter. Make sure you get all that goodness out. I like the butter for the butter flavor, and I just like the coconut because of what it offers and some of the slight health benefits you might get with that. Okay, so we have our butter. Then we add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And now we need a 1/2 cup of non-dairy milk. Now, if you drink dairy milk, skim milk or regular milk work just fine. But again, since my family follows pretty closely to autoimmune, paleo, gluten-free, casein-free, things like that, that's why we stick with the non-dairy. So we are going to go ahead and mix this up. Once this is fully mixed and together, we will fold in the egg whites. Now that everything is mixed together, the flour, the egg yolks, the sugar, the baking powder, vanilla, milk, butter, oil, everything, that's all in there. The last thing we're going to be putting in before the blueberries are the egg whites. Go ahead and fold those in. mix it until it's fully combined. If your batter is a little bit thick, and cassava will be, don't be afraid to add a few drops of milk at a time. You don't want it to be so thick that you can only get one waffle out. And this recipe in a 6-inch preheated waffle iron, which is what I have, will yield about 3. So I made these this weekend, and I didn't put in as many blueberries, and my boys went crazy over them. I mean, like, seriously nuts. So this time, I'm going to add the whole package, but it's only about 3 ounces because we like a nice blueberry flavor. We're done. So let's go ahead and put those in there. Can you use fresh? Yes and no. Dried has a tendency to work better because with fresh ones you still have the natural juices in the water that are in there, and so it can water down the batter. So it's just play with it, see what you like. This just is what works best for me, and what works best by and large is using the dry. Alright, let's take a look at that. Ta-da! Now we're ready to go ahead and spray the waffle iron and put the batter in there. There we go. Personally, I'm not a huge spray oil can kind of person, but for this purpose and this purpose only, I'll do it. Preheated, I've got some spray coconut oil. Now I'm going to go ahead and load it up with some of the batter. It usually takes about a tablespoon per corner. I'm trying to get the bowl closer because I get messy and I still have to clean up the kitchen. And I'd say this will take you all of about 5 minutes either side, because you know, once you're done filling this up, then you'll press down, and then I just go by the light, but it's about 2 minutes per side. Now that I've got everything spread out, I'm going to go ahead and close this. And you've got the nice lights here, which work really well to tell you when it's ready to flip over. And that's what I mean by cooking about 2 to 2.5 minutes per side, to make sure you get a nice, even, you know, bake, cook, whatever you want to call it, on each side. What you'll do is you'll let it go for about 2.5 minutes. Then you'll flip it over, about another 2.5 minutes, and then you have a waffle. Okay, we've waited the 2 minutes, 2.5. Now we're going to go ahead and flip it over and wait for another 2.5 minutes. Okay, let's flip it back over, open it up, take a look, and it should be ready to pop out. Now look at that. Nice, golden, beautiful. Now we open her up, and as you can see, we've got a nice golden perfection right here. Blueberries, beautiful. I use just a butter knife to get it out because I'm not brave enough to try and stick my hands in a hot iron quite yet. There you go. And here's your blueberry cassava flour waffle. Now is when you really want that smell-o-vision I always talk about. If you enjoyed this video this evening, leave a like or a comment in the comments section below. Be sure to visit Carrie's Kitchen every week, where we will be preparing delicious foods in new and fabulous ways. Soon we will be streaming live on Twitch, headed for the summer. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Carrie's Kitchen. You'll find these links in the description below. I look forward to seeing you next time. Buen provecho!